It was an ordinary Tuesday when the truth came crashing down, shattering the illusion of love and trust I had held so dear. The world seemed to hang in a breathless pause, the very air around me turning cold and still. It was as if I was standing on the edge of a precipice, peering into the abyss of a reality I had refused to acknowledge. The signs had been there, subtle as a whisper, yet potent as a scream. The late-night phone calls, the secret smiles cast towards the screen, the sudden bursts of anger when questioned. I had shrugged them off, attributing them to stress, to work, to anything but the truth. But the truth has a way of revealing itself, no matter how deeply it's buried. And on that Tuesday it rose from the depths, an ugly spectre of betrayal and deceit, its icy fingers wrapping around my heart, squeezing the warmth out of it. The evidence was there, clear as day, undeniable, irrefutable. The text messages, the emails, the pictures, a chilling tableau of a secret life lived in the shadows. A life I was oblivious to, a life that made a mockery of the love we had promised each other. A wave of nausea washed over me, my mind spinning as I tried to process the magnitude of the betrayal. This wasn't just an affair. This was a systematic erosion of trust, a calculated game played by a master manipulator, a narcissist. The realization hit me like a punch in the gut. The person I had loved, the person I had trusted, was not who they appeared to be. They were a stranger hiding behind a mask of charm and affection, their true nature revealed in the cold light of betrayal. The pain was sharp, a searing hot knife slicing through the fabric of my being. It was a devastation that went beyond the physical, reaching into the depths of my soul, tearing apart the very essence of who I thought I was. In that moment, my world collapsed, and I was left staring at the ruins of what I thought was a perfect love story. Our story began like a fairy tale, with promises of love and a future that seemed too good to be true. The world was painted in hues of joy and enchantment as I found myself swept off my feet by an irresistible charm. It was a whirlwind romance filled with laughter, whispered sweet nothings, and grand gestures of affection. I was the sun, the moon and the stars, the center of their universe. This was the idolization phase, where I was showered with love and attention, made to feel like the most special person in their life. It felt like a dream, a beautiful dream where everything was perfect. The flattery, the compliments, the adoration, it all seemed so genuine, so real. It was as if I had found my soulmate, my perfect match. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a twisted tale. As days turned into weeks, the fairy tale began to crack, revealing a much darker reality. What once felt like a dream started to become a nightmare, a subtle shift that was almost imperceptible. It was as if I was walking through a field of roses, only to start noticing the thorns. The first signs of devaluation were subtle, almost inconspicuous. A seemingly innocent jest here, a sly remark there, all carefully disguised as humor, but with a sting that lingered. These were not just harmless jokes, they were subtle put-downs, designed to chip away at my self-esteem, to make me feel less than. The narcissist, once my greatest admirer, had now started the process of devaluation. The person who once put me on a pedestal was now intent on bringing me down, one subtle jab at a time. But it didn't stop there. The gaslighting began. Simple things started to become complicated. My reality was constantly questioned, my memories distorted. Did that really happen? Are you sure you didn't misunderstand? These questions became a part of my daily life, a cunning tactic to make me doubt my own reality. The narcissist's gaslighting was a powerful tool of manipulation, a way to keep me off balance, to make me question myself rather than their behavior. It was like living in a fog, where everything was distorted and nothing seemed real. And then came the isolation. Friends and family started to seem like distant memories as the narcissist weaved a cocoon around us, cutting me off from the outside world. It was a calculated move, a way to ensure that their reality became my only reality. The person who once showered me with love and attention was now using these tactics to control me, to manipulate me, to make me question my worth. I was trapped in a web of deceit, slowly losing myself in the process. Then came the final blow, the cruel discard that left me broken and alone. This marked the beginning of the end. The the heart-wrenching finale of a horror story that I lived firsthand. Imagine being cast aside as if you were a worn-out plaything, no longer of any interest. Picture the one you loved, cared for, and dedicated yourself to look you in the eye and utter the words of separation with a chilling detachment. The coldness of the breakup was like a winter's gust, freezing the very core of my being. It was a calculated move, executed with precision, devoid of any shred of empathy. The narcissist, in their twisted reality, saw this as a triumphant endgame. Their lack of remorse was haunting, as though our shared moments were nothing more than fleeting distractions. The person I had once idolized now stood as a stranger, their true colors finally on display. But the discard wasn't the end. As if the breakup wasn't devastating enough, they launched a smear campaign against me. It was a calculated effort to tarnish my reputation, to paint me as the villain in their twisted narrative. They spread lies, half-truths, and manipulated stories, all designed to make them appear as the victim, and me the perpetrator. The pain of being replaced was a bitter pill to swallow. It felt as if I was being erased, my existence conveniently forgotten. The narcissist moved on, effortlessly finding a new target to idolize, devalue, and eventually discard. Their lack of empathy was a stark reminder of the monstrous facade hidden behind the charming exterior I had once fallen for. And so I was left in the ruins of a relationship that was built on deceit and manipulation. I was left questioning my worth, my sanity, and the very essence of love itself. It was a painful realization, coming to terms with the fact that what I had experienced was not love, but a carefully constructed illusion. I was left with nothing but the scars of a love that was never real. The heartless discard was a crushing blow, a dark chapter in my life, but it was also a wake-up call, a harsh reminder that not all that glitters is gold, and not every "I love you" is said with sincerity. In the aftermath of the storm, I found strength in my pain and resilience in my brokenness. The twisted cycle of idolization, devaluation, and discard had left me shattered, but it was in that shattered state that I began to rebuild myself, piece by piece. This journey of recovery was not a straight path, nor was it a swift one. It was a winding road filled with potholes of self-doubt, steep hills of grief, and sharp turns of anger. But it was a road I had to traverse, for the destination was healing. The first step was acceptance. I had to accept that what I had gone through was not normal, not my fault, and certainly not what love should look like. I had to accept that I was a victim of narcissistic abuse, and that acknowledgement was not about assigning blame, but about understanding the dynamics of the relationship that had caused me so much pain. Next, I had to learn to love myself again. The narcissist had chipped away at my self-esteem, making me believe that I was less than I am. But I am not the reflections of someone else's insecurities. I am worthy, I am enough, I am deserving of love and respect. And so, I embarked on a journey of self-discovery and self-love, learning to set boundaries and to prioritize my own needs and happiness. Seeking professional help was a crucial part of my recovery. Therapists and counselors who specialize in narcissistic abuse provided me with the tools and strategies to cope with the trauma, to understand the manipulative tactics used by the narcissist, and to rebuild my sense of self. Lastly, I found power in sharing my story, in connecting with others who have had similar experiences, and in knowing that I was not alone. I discovered a community of survivors, a tribe of individuals who had also been through the dark spiral and emerged stronger on the other side. This is my story, a tale of survival and strength. And if you're listening to this, know that you're not alone. There's always hope, always a way to heal and move forward.